Hey guys, Civilord here, back in with another action figure review of the Masters of the Universe X Transformers crossover Starscream Armor Scareglow, or as I like to call him, Scarescream, because, well, if you're going to cross over the two brands, just cross over the frickin' names, and that way I can make these video review titles a little shorter. Ever think of that? No. That said, this of course is brought to us by the fine folks over at Mattel, and I have to say, other than, left knee being a little wonky on mine, this is a bit of an improvement to the Skeletron we looked at yesterday. But we're going to get into that. So, before I get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we take a look at all Scarescream has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with the mini-comic. It's a pamphlet, in case you're a maroon and don't know how these come apart. It's back. I'm not going to spoil what's in here, because even I haven't seen it yet. Oh, look, there's Beastman as Lugnut. No, I'm just kidding. Because all you boomer-ass Masters fans gotta have everything from the 80s. We probably won't get mashups that make sense. Hence why we got Man-at-Arms as freaking Bumblebee. That's just stupid. It makes no sense. But as far as actual accessories, we do have a couple of Scareglow-esque null rays with axe blades attached to them. So you can use these as battle axes or as null rays. Granted, I tend to always use them as null rays, but you know, they do kind of add the wing tips because of the axe head there. So that's pretty cool. Although I didn't think that's how that worked. I thought the wings were on the back. We also get a cape that will just plug into the back. And a coronation crown with like this robotic Havoc skull on it, which is pretty cool. Not gonna lie. So, this is a little flexible, but not very. But you can get a little leeway out of that. But yeah, you can make this full-blown coronation Starscream if you want. Which kind of makes sense for Scareglow, given the fact that that version of Starscream has a cape. And it is what he looked like before he got shot. But moving him over a sec, so we can bring in the Megatron Armor Skeletor, who is fine for what he is, but I think this Scareglow Starscream mashup is a lot better. Although I will say, Skeletron is a much cooler name, if you ask me. But yeah, not for nothing, these null rays also have the pegs. Have pegs on them so they will not fall off his freaking arms like this fusion Havoc cannon. So, there you go. That's all I have at the moment. I'm not opposed to getting the other ones exactly, but they gotta be on clearance or something because they're a little bit hokey, even for me. But I'm taking a look at Scarescream here. He looks really cool. He's got the skeleton parts here, 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 and then down here. Surprisingly enough, he is the only Starscream ever to have like the gunmetal face, and it doesn't make sense because he's got his skeleton bones sticking out. So that's kind of stupid, but it is what it is. Now, as far as articulation goes, it's standard origin stuff. His head can bobble around, hindered by the Starscream helmet. His shoulders can rotate, unhindered by these pauldrons here, which I imagine you can either pop them off, or you probably pop them off the shoulder. It's probably where they're attached. Or they're attached inside. They feel like they're attached inside the shoulder socket. So you can move the arm like this and still have it look somewhat natural, which is nice. I think I said the arms move out. If not, there you go. Swivel at the elbow with a hinge, which I gotta say, the elbow hinges always have been tighter for me as of late in comparison to the whatchamacallit, the knees. It's almost always tighter on the elbows. Got a swivel in the wrist with a hinge. Waist twist, not the tightest thing, but it does work. His arms out, his legs can kick out. Whoop! About that far. Back down. Forward and back. Not as tight as some figures, which is nice because I can actually move the legs. He does have a swivel in the calf with a single knee. Like I said, this one, it's not loose per se, but it's just got a little wonk right here. Actually, now it's fine. I'm a liar. Okay. Okay. You know, I'm just talking out my keister here. But it does have a little wiggle in there. He does have a boot cut. Hinge in the foot. And a rocker. Still little teeny tiny feet. You'd think with giant robot armor they would actually have feet worth of crap. But they still don't. They still friggin' don't. But why don't we actually accessorize this guy, starting off with this cape, which does help stabilize him, ironically, because the knees can't bend when this cape is plugged in. It's not hard to plug in. I would say, if anything, it's harder to take off than it is to plug in. But putting that on, now his knee can't bend back, even if it does have that little wiggle there. So that's kind of nice. Standing him up, yeah, you can see he's a little more stable with that cape. Then his crown. Actually, I'll put the null rays on first. The null rays you can again either put in his hands, either as blasters or as axes, or you can plug them in up here in these little peg holes in the shoulder. Which is what I wanted from Skeletron. I don't know why they didn't do this before. But this is a lot better. It's a lot more secure. And it doesn't feel like it's going to flop right off. So, plugging those in, you can see that now he's got his null rays. Cape is uneven, but it's supposed to be like that. Looks very, very cool. Like that. Definitely gives him the wing tips. Which, again, I thought was something that was on the Seekers' backs, but I guess in this case they didn't have a lot of choice but to do it that way. And then this crown. It is keyed. It's got these little tabs on the side. He's got little notches on the side of his head. It's a little tricky to line this up, but once you do it, it stays. But it can sometimes be knocked loose. So let's see if I can get this back on there. Not taking too long to do it. I want to say this is how we do it. Anyone get that reference? Hopefully not. That song's about as old as the year I graduated. Probably older. I think the year I started high school. But there you go. There he is with his crown. With his null rays. Looking pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I think this one, as I mentioned earlier, translates a little better. I have to say it's way better than the freaking Bumblebee Man-at-Arms. I don't know about the Optimus He-Man. You know, that just makes sense, but that's going to look a little hokey. They're all going to look a little hokey, let's face it. But let's bring in Skeletron again, now that we have this guy like fully kitted out. looking like Starscream. And as you can see, you know, he looks like a bigger figure because of how wide those null ray axe weapons / wings make him. And I quite like that. I think that's cool. Is this guy like a figure of the year or anything? Because it's Scareglow? Probably not. It's still pretty ridiculous, and I find it ridiculous that, you know, this many years in, we're just now getting another Scareglow. I swear the last one was, what, Masterverse from Revelation? Or possibly the reissued Mega Constructs? And that's just stupid. This character sells, man. Mondo's given us more Scareglows in like a 2-year period than Mattel has in a 5-year period. It makes no freaking sense. And, you know, 2 of them were repeats. You know, you had the exclusive for Revelation, you had the main line, and then you had the regular, you know, the first Origins, and then you had the 40th anniversary of MOTU Origins with the clicky joints, which I almost bought, funny enough. But before we wrap this up, I think it is only right that we bring in our 2 regulars, the Mythic Legions, Brother Mandibolith. When are we going to get a Mythic Legions Scareglow? We got freaking shitty ass Mossman, but we didn't get Scareglow. It's kind of bogus. And we also have the infamous 11 Spawn, who as usual towers over everyone because, well, he's not a 5.5 inch figure after all. And really, I'm surprised that these Transformer mashups, get a little closer. I'm surprised these Transformer mashups, once again, aren't using, like, the Thundercats parts, but the, Cartoon Collection 2000X stuff is. Very, very strange. But, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and if you're not sold on this Masters of the Universe X Transformers line yet, you're probably not going to be. However, jokes aside, I think that good old Starscream Armor Scareglow, stupid name, aka Scarescream, as I like to call him, I think is a far superior mashup than the Megatron Armor Skeletor and or Skeletron that we looked at yesterday. I think they're getting a little better as time progresses, but we're going to have to wait and see what the future holds for this line, because as I mentioned before, I'm willing to get the Decepticons. I'm not opposed to checking out the Autobots, but I'd have to get them for a deal, alright? So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.